All right, hello and welcome. Welcome to another edition of the Strategy Sprints. Hello and a big welcome to you. It's Doyle Buehler here, author of the digital best-selling book, Breakthrough, and founder of the League of Extraordinary Entrepreneurs and Founders and the Strategy Academy as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this short strategy sprint video. Today we're going to be talking about creating your own strategy model in your market industry and how you can define and build yours, and more importantly, how you can make it into a 3D model like this. If you want a copy of the strategy model worksheets to help you build your own, comment strategy model below. Excellent. Ready to get into it? All right, so the first thing in terms of building a strategy, there's a lot of frustrations out there. It's not sure how to start a strategy, not sure what a strategy should even look like, and strategies don't always seem to work and seem a little bit too complicated to implement as well. One of the things I really wanted to show you is that if you've used the business model canvas, is it still around, or have you lost it in a drawer somewhere, right? We all know that we use these tools, but do we actually use the tools for a long-term basis? So if you've been using the business model canvas, it's a great tool, right? It really helps you kind of think and kind of structure some of the things that you can do with the business in terms of your value, your customers, that sort of thing, your resources. But at the end of the day, if it gets lost or lost in the shuffle of all the papers, it doesn't really do much good. So what this does is actually takes that next step and actually elevates the business model canvas so that you've got something clear to use. So what I want to go through today is creating like a simple solution. It doesn't get in the way of what you're doing. It adds immediate value to see what you're doing and your impact to your business as well. It doesn't keep getting lost in a pile of papers as well. And you can easily show it off. To your team, your clients, your partners, you name it. So, like I said, we're going to get into this. So, going to get into the worksheets as well. So, if you'd like to get a copy of the worksheets, there's a bunch here that you'll be able to work through on your own time. Please just comment strategy model below, and I'll send it over to you, and you'll get that, and then you can work on those as well. So, let's just switch over here for a minute. And I want to talk about how do we build an attractive business model, right? So it's like I said, it's like the business model canvas, but on steroids. So we want to make sure that we kind of have these pieces in place. So what we're going to do is we're going to visually organize your strategy. We're going to optimize for what is really important. We're going to create a structure for your brain to see. And we're going to be able to compartmentalize as well what you are good at, and shows you exactly where your value lies. So we're going to go from this to this, and I'm going to show you very, very quickly how we're going to do that. So it takes a little bit of work in terms of brainstorming and understanding the concepts and how you want to be able to put these pieces together. But once you've kind of got that foundation, it's pretty easy. It's just a fun little arts and craft little exercise as well, which I'm going to take you through also. So how do we make the most attractive business model? We want to make sure that we can see 3D without 3D glasses, okay? So it might seem a little bit weird or a little bit funky, but that's what we really want to do. Fundamentally, it comes down to how are we actually creating this, and what's called a strategy expedition as well. So there's a difference here between a safari and an expedition. A lot of businesses and a lot of strategy consultants they're on a safari, right? It's just really about seeing, observation and seeing, and that sort of thing. You go into the jungle or whatever, onto the plains, and you would look at the lions and the tigers and that sort of thing. So it's good, but it's just observation and seeing. Whereas if you take a look at an expedition, this is discovering and doing. And it's really, really key to be able to do this so that we can create a stronger foundation. We can create these great expeditions, similar to the ones in the past. The moon landing, the exploration of the Arctic and Antarctica, the first flight across the Atlantic, you name it. One of the reasons why these were successful is because they were very well prepared. They had a foundation, they had an understanding, they had a strategy in terms of what they needed to do and how they needed to do it. So what we're going to be doing is just showing you, creating this sort of baseline, being able to understand how we go from our fear zone to our learning zone to our growth zone as well, which helps us grow and it helps us build this strategic foundation. And that's where the triangle comes from rather. And there's a lot more behind it, but this is kind of where I wanted to start off with, to show you that this triangle, it's part of what I call the strategy expedition, because it's got a certain number of facilities that allow us to see things in a different way, and allows us to organize and compartmentalize stuff quite nicely as well. So that's the foundation. How we're actually going to do this, being able to create your 3D business strategy model, well, it's pretty easy. First off, we're going to go through design and create. We got some quick short answers and questions and answers rather that we're going to go through. Next is we're going to fill out these templates so that you can actually see it. And then it's a simple process of cutting it and shaping it, folding it into the shape, and then we raise it into the final shape as well. And if you actually, I have built an online tool as well that you can go and work through this as well. Go to creator.stratahedron.digital and you can create your own. But this is a fun little exercise. Again, hands-on, very tactile, very looking at how these things fit together, and how you can actually build it for your business as well. So very exciting. So first off, the model, I showed you those big triangles at the beginning. This is just detailing that out a little bit more. And it's what I call the AMPS approach, and basically taking 4 key components strategically to say, what is our business about, and how are we defining our value, and how are we delivering our value? And what it comes down to is 4 key factors. The number one is your audience, right? How are you connecting and communicating with them? The second one in the middle is really kind of part of that structure, that foundation, and that's what I call your method. What is your internal structure to connect? Then we go to the P, which is the process, and what steps are critical to succeed. And then finally, the S on the right-hand corner there is our story, right? What journey are you bringing your audience on? So we want to be able to combine these, again, into what I call the AMPS approach for the strategic expedition. So if we can kind of compartmentalize all these different concepts into our model, into the business, into the foundation, and into our strategy, that's fundamentally how we're able to then build it and grow it from there, and create a business model canvas that actually allows us to see it, see how it fits together, and see it in 3D. So that's pretty important, to be able to say, how do we actually compartmentalize our strategy to make it simple, and then how do we actually make that work, creating it into an object as well. So there's 4 groups of main questions. Obviously, if we want to get through each of these, we have to go through each of the sets of questions, and they're pretty simple. And we don't have quite enough time to go through all of those. I kind of wanted to give you an overview, and you can again download the worksheets, and you can go through this on your own time, or you can actually go to the website, to the app, and it'll help you build it along that way. But first off, it's important to kind of get the questions and get your answers right, or at least getting to the sense of being right. You can go back and edit. You can go back and strategy storm some more to see how the ideas fit together. So keep that in mind as well. This is just to lay the framework, the foundation for what you can actually use and how you can do it. So element 1, the questions are about the audience, right? So how are you connecting and communicating with your audience? What is the one core value that you deliver for your audience that no one else can? And ask yourself, what would you like to call this element? In this case, again, just to build the model upon it, I've called it your audience, but you can call it something else. You can look at, how do you actually interact? How do you create those interaction, that value with your audience as well? And then we want to kind of define that a little bit further as well. And just to kind of describe that a little bit more, we do have these main elements here, but then we also have the sub-elements, these smaller components that become part of the description, that become part of our activities, part of our roadmap as well. So we have to go after the core concept, and then we also have to go after, how do we support that in each of these as well? So story, it's adaptable, connected, and resourceful. Method, it's foundation, ecosystem, and assets. With process, it's digital delivery, value creation, and digital experience. And again, with audience, it's be seen, be heard, and be understood. So we want to combine all of these different elements together so that we can create our model. And that's what we're trying to do here, is go through the specific details of what is it, what is driving it, what's the essence of our business, what's the essence of our model, that we can then use to be able to fill this out. And again, compartmentalize it and understand it, so how it actually fits for you and your business as well. So within your audience, word or phrase that we used, right, lists the 3 critical concepts or sub-elements. that support and convey what you're doing for your audience. Okay, so how do you connect and communicate? Concept one, which again, in this case, I described it as being seen. Concept two is being heard, and concept three is being understood. So if you recall, we went through that here. Audience, be seen, be heard, and be understood. So we really just kind of want to dig down in terms of how do we build this, what's really important, and how do we put these pieces together. Then we can go into element two questions, which is your M, your method. Okay, and then we just continue on through this process as well. We continue with element three questions for P for your process, and then finally element four questions, which is S for your story as well. So don't forget to download the worksheets. That'll really help you put these pieces together, give you some time to scratch in some ideas, write in some ideas, and basically put the pieces in place as well. There's a couple of other things that we want to go through too. One's called content hashtags. And then finally, there's just what I call, what about these three core words that you're probably seeing, and that's on the tip, right? The tip of the, the tip of the stratahedron here, the tip of the business model. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to be able to talk about the hashtags. So the hashtags really become your content your main content hashtag. So that is basically saying what are the topics that we're going to be talking about, what's really important to us and our audience, and how do we convey those ideas. So we need to look at what do those actually become, what words do we want to be able to use to describe those specific content pieces, and again, to help you create that focus, to help you be able to understand, okay, these are the pieces that I need for that model to be able to talk about, to work with, and show people as well. And then finally, the certainty, competency, and clarity. As I said, that's the tip of the model here. So if you can see, those are all around the apex of it. And really, most businesses need three things, right? We need certainty, we need competency, and we need clarity. So everything is working towards that. And if you'd like to change those words, feel free to do that as well. But looking at that, how do these specific words apply to you? And that's what I'd like you to go through for this final step of the exercise as well, is how do we take those core words and how do we translate them into something that's reflective of us and our business as well. So that's where you'll end up. Again, you've got the four elements, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go through the questions based upon the model, and then you'll move into the final content hashtags, and then what about the certainty, competency, and clarity, and how those fit together for you and your business. So, take some time to be able to go through this, write them out, scratch them out, try it again, see what actually fits, and that sort of thing. And then you can move to the next step, step number 2, right? That's the big one. So that's where we've taken all of your different ideas and all of your different concepts and put them into the model. Okay, so we're able to create a sheet like this, and you can hand write them in, or again, you can go to the website and actually put them in place as well. But that gives you a good indication of that. So go ahead, print this out, write them in based on those questions that you were answering. So for the 4 elements, audience, method, process, and story, and then each of the 3 sub-elements within that. And then the hashtags also, which are really important for you to be able to see how does that fit together. And then that becomes your foundation. And in this case, we've said that the foundation is all about the method, right? So you're able to create that, and then the next step, which after you've written your specific area, so create the main element here, and then the subcomponents on each of the side in all of the 4 cases as well. And then what do you get? Well, you get the triangle. So print it out, or whatever the case may be. Cut it out. Don't forget to leave the little tabs in place as well, so that you can actually use it. So cut it out into that shape, and then all you do is you can pre-fold it. And then fold the sides into the shape as well. And then it becomes your tetrahedron as well. So it's a pretty cool little final tool that you can actually use. You can then glue it, tape it so that it holds together. If you fold it just right, you can get the tips to stick as well. So it becomes quite easy. And you can even put it on a magnet and put it on your a whiteboard or your magnetic board or whatever the case may be. So that's what you want to be able to do, is you take it from this blank model, your 4 concepts, right, your 4 elements, put it in place, write them out, or get the app to do it, and then cutting it out and creating it and that sort of thing. And guess what? This isn't going to fall into a flat piece of paper. You're not going to lose this in a pile in the filing cabinet or whatever the case may be. So it gives you something really kind of quite unique and useful to be able to use so that you can see again how your different elements fit together. What's really important to you and your business in terms of delivering your value and being able to understand how all these different elements align and how they interact with each other as well. So very quick, we're very easy. We're going to wrap up really, really soon, but that's basically it. We want to be able to create this, again, strategically for our business. That's really important. That's the key message here is yes, you can follow along with the audience method, process, and story, but we want to make sure that you customize it for your business because at the end of the day, that's really what it's about too, is making it work. If you want to be able to do it on your own through the app, go to creator.strategedron.digital, and there's a design studio here. There's that you can then build and test different words and that sort of thing. Bonus step, if you want to kind of just start from scratch with a basic template, away you go with that. Use the worksheets to be able to print that out as well and do some practice as well. So I'd like to close this with the final amazing words from Pythagoras, right? Every triangle is a love triangle when you love triangles. So thanks for watching. Strategic thinking is forward thinking. To fundamentally understand the strategy model of your business, you must begin by reorientating your strategic focus from competitors to alternatives and from customers to non-customers, right? We want to be able to expand our audience through our strategic thinking and through our strategic tools that we use as well. So it's really important that we're able to do that also and give us the tools that allow us to be able to do that, the ones that are easy, the ones that are compelling, the ones that really kind of tell a lot in terms of what you can do with your business quickly and that sort of thing. So, all right, I'll just quickly wrap up here. Thank you so much. Hopefully we've gone through everything that we wanted to, right? How to visually organize your strategy, how to optimize for what is really important, how to create a structure for your brain to see, how to compartmentalize what you're good at and shows you exactly where your value lies as well. So that's what I want to kind of leave you with is being able to do that. So making sure that you're able to create a model from that. Again, if you like the worksheets, so you can build your own type strategy model in the comments, and I'll send you the worksheets that you can then print out and use for whatever you need to. All right, so cool. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this short strategy sprint video. If you found it helpful, please like it, and I would love it if you could share it as well or put a comment below in the comments also. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you online.